we are with another project. If y'all remember a while back, I had asked y'all if y'all wanted to submit a square for a quilt that we would donate to CareNet Crisis Pregnancy here in Clanton, Alabama. And a lot of you did that. And here is one stack of them that we received from y'all that we're gonna put into a quilt today. We still got some more and we'll get to those, but we've divided them into sections. And how we did that was very carefully, because when we asked y'all to submit the squares, we gave no parameters other than a 12.5-inch block. That's all we cared about. We didn't care about color or design of the block, anything. So when we got all these in, they were all so different. They were all beautiful, but they were all different. And we were trying to place them together to ones that looked like they should go together. So this is what this first set is. We have picked out some that we thought looked good together, and these are some of them. What we're gonna do is we're gonna put these into a quilt today, and we really don't know how we're gonna do it yet. We just know we're gonna do it. So here's some of them, and let's go back to the sewing table and figure out how we're gonna put them together and what we're gonna do to put them together. So stay tuned. We've decided to take these squares and sash them to make the quilt a little bit bigger and to accent more of the squares instead of putting them side by side like that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna sash them. We're gonna start with one square. I've cut some strips that are 2.5 inches wide. That's gonna be my sashing size. And I'm gonna take it to the sewing machine and I'm gonna sew 1/4-inch seam allowance down this one side of the square. So let's take that over here. Sew a 1/4-inch seam. Make sure it's lined up. And then we are going to take it out and cut this strip to the desired size, which is the size of the block. The reason we picked this color sashing was almost all the quilts had a cream in it. There was one that had white, but most of them had cream. So we chose this. We couldn't really choose a bright color or a bold color because so many colors were in all the different squares. So this is the route we chose. We're going to take one, open this up. We'll iron it in a few minutes. Then we're going to take this square and put it to the side where we sew the sashing on, and we're going to sew it on. And we're going to do this with each of the squares. There's 12 squares in this one, so it'll be 3 wide and 4 tall, which is perfect for a child's quilt. And since this is going to CareNet Crisis Pregnancy, it will be used more than likely by a child. So that's what we're doing with this. They will be much appreciative of all of you guys putting these blocks out there for us to put this together with. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Attach my sash for this side. If y'all don't know what CareNet is, it is a crisis pregnancy place here in Chilton County, and they provide lots of things. They present the gospel to every woman that comes through the center. They meet new mothers' needs. They provide pregnancy tests and ultrasounds, counseling, parenting classes, classes for the fathers, and tons and tons of other things. They've even recently opened a home for unwed mothers, which was a great need here in the state, and we are super excited about that. So there's lots and lots of things that they offer. If you don't know about them, look them up. It's CareNet of Chilton County. There's probably one in your area too if you're not local. But if you're local, check them out. They're always in need of diapers, wipes, supplies like that, or volunteers. Lots of other things, but check them out. Their number here in town is 205-755-6767 if you're wanting to get in touch with them. But they will be much appreciative of this quilt when they receive it. I'm not sure what they're going to do with it. We have told them that is up to them. They can donate it to someone that has just had a baby and needs something like this. They can provide it in one of their rooms there in the new home that they've opened. That is up to them. What we are doing is just providing them with the quilt. So that is what we're doing. So I'm going to keep going here, and I'm going to sew 3 across with a sash between the two like this. I'm not going to put one on the ends because I'll put one big long sash all the way down that side. So I'm just going to put them in the middle. So I've got 3 across, 4 down, and then I'll come back to you and we'll finish it up. I've sewn all my strips together now, and I've got a block, a sash, a block, a sash, and a block. So I've got 4 of these. There's 1, there's 2, 3, and 4. So now I'm going to take the first 2 and I'm going to put a sash between these 2 rows. So I'm going to sew the sash to this line here, and then I'm going to flip it right sides together and I'm going to sew it to this row. So let's get started. I've got my sash, and I am going to, if I can find my scissors, cut this selvage off because I don't want that in it. And I am going to start sewing this sash to these blocks. I could pin it all the way down, but I can hold it in place as well. So I'm just going to sew a 1/4 inch seam down this line and attach this sashing. Once I've got this row done with the sashing on it, I'm going to grab the next row and I'm going to, let's put it this way. Put them like this, and then I'm going to flip it upside down, and I'm going to sew right sides together, the sashing we just sewed on to the bottom of the row in front of it, or that'll be underneath it. Then I'm going to sew a 1/4 inch seam down this side, and I'm going to do the same thing with each of the other rows. Put a sash in it and then put the next row on it with a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and then I'll be back. When I'm sewing my rows on to a quilt when it's got sashing, the best way I have found to do that is to pin them starting from one side, and when you get to the sashing, I like to take the sashing, line them up, the one that's on top and then the row that you're attaching it to, line those up, roll it up to the top, that way, and then pin it. That way when I put it together and sew it, it's going to be lined up and it's going to look like a straight line and not a zigzag sash. So here I go again. I'm going to line that up, roll it to the top, pin it right there, and it should be straight right there. You shouldn't have gaps or a buckle or anything. So you see right there is lined up good. And that is it. Now I'm going to take it to the sewing machine and I'm going to sew this row on with another 1/4 inch seam allowance, and then we'll come back and see what it looks like. I've got my sashing on one end and on the other end, so now I'm going to take a piece of the sashing and sew it down the other sides just like I did those end pieces. So I'm going to attach it this way and I'm going to sew it all the way down this side. Then I'm going to do the same to the other side, and then we'll come back and the quilt top itself will be finished. Here we are back with the finished quilt top, and this is what it looks like. We put all those squares together and sashed it in between. Hope you can see it good. And this is what it looks like. Now we'll take this quilt top and put it on the long arm and quilt it. It will probably be a project for tomorrow or the next day, as we don't have time to do it right now. But I am going to do it. There'll be another part to this video where you'll watch me quilt this, or at least I'll show you how to do it, and you'll see that next process. So here we go. We've got the quilt top done. Now to quilt it, and then to hand it over to CareNet for them to do whatever they want to do with the quilt. And that's it. It's not hard. You can do it. If you have questions and need answers or anything, have problems along the way, when you're trying to do this, contact us. We'll be more than happy to help you out as best we can. One last thing before we go. I want to thank you all you people that made these squares and sent them in to us. We appreciate it. I know CareNet will appreciate it. And we've still got more to do. We'll get to those as well as time permits. But we do have these done. We'll pass this one off to them. They are as much appreciative as we are, and the ladies that get it at the center will be as appreciative as well. So thanks again. We really appreciate you being a part of this project, and hope you enjoyed this video, and look forward to the next video when we actually quilt the quilt top. And until next time, happy quilting.